Well, hello, welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me today. Have you ever dealt with family members who just simply don't make sense to you? They perplex you in everything that they do. They don't behave correctly. They don't say the right things. They make jokes that are inappropriate. They feel like, they have the right to say certain things. They're entitled, they're insensitive, and they totally lack empathy. I'm sure you have dealt with family members like this, but you didn't have the labels needed to correctly apply to that family member what is the problem, right? So, unfortunately, when you don't have the correct labels, you just call these kind of family members rude, mean, ignorant, inconsiderate, cold, selfish. You use the common and practical layman terms. But in today's video, I want to give you a little bit of clinical language, and I also want to highlight what a clinical narcissist is. But there's a little bit more to that definition of narcissism. So let's just jump in. Before we do that, let me briefly introduce myself in case you're new to the channel. My name is Tamara. I'm an internationally and board certified trauma therapist. I'm licensed in mental health, and I specialize in treating children, teens, and families, as well as adults who are living with trauma. I almost forgot my line. Let's jump in. So, clinical narcissism, has a set of characteristics that, those of us who are in the field of psychotherapy, psychiatry, psychology, we look for. And it isn't always a selfish or needy person who just has no empathy and doesn't care about other people. In fact, a clinical narcissist, really has superior expectations of other people. And yet on the inside of them, they are falling apart and having a really hard time just really being confident and self-assured. For the most part, most narcissists tend to have low self-esteem. They tend to have low self-efficacy. Here's the definition of low self-efficacy. They also have trouble not being perfectionists, type A personalities, I should say. For the most part, narcissists really do have a complex and pretty checkered personality and set of personality traits, and you can't always identify what the heck is going on with some of these family members when they, exhibit traits of narcissism. In your mind, you may question why you are not that way, but they are. You may also question, where did they come from in this family? Because everybody else in my family is calm and considerate and empathic, and the list goes on. Narcissists are perplexing because they are not only created, but they are also influenced by environment. So, they may have the genetic makeup, but then they also may be, what's the word I'm looking for? They may also be influenced, I guess I could say, by their environment, right? Their life experiences over time has a way that it impacts how they behave. And so, it may not always be just biology and genes. So for those of you who are perplexed as to why somebody like this exists in your family, don't be perplexed anymore, because even though it may not be genetically possible, or you don't see the genetic connection, like nobody in your family is that way, it could be environmental. It could be what they've experienced over time. So let me highlight a couple of things that, would categorize a narcissistic family member as clinically meeting the criteria for narcissism. So here's the first thing: they cannot easily change. I talk about that in all of my videos. Here they are right here all around me on this particular topic, and I do believe that every video I do on narcissism, I try to highlight 100% that they are not easily changed. They are born that way most of the time, and they are also influenced by environment. So when you mix those two things, right, you've got what we call a bidirectional influence, which means environment influences the person, and so does the genes and biology. So they're getting hit from both directions, right? And so it's not like, they have learned a set of behaviors and they can outgrow it, or they can change over time. It's inborn, it's ingrained. The way that I want you to kind of see narcissism or personality disorders in general is as if you are a hilarious person. Okay, everything you say causes people to laugh. People say I'm like that. I don't see it, but and it's not something that you can change, right? So let's say you're a humorous person and you go to a therapist and you say, you know what, I don't want to be humorous anymore. I don't like people laughing at me. And the therapist, could say something like, well, it's going to be really hard to change the fact that you're funny. Everything you say out of your mouth is hilarious, right? There's no pill to cure that. There's no amount of therapy that's going to stop you from being hilarious. That's just who you are. That's basically a personality disorder, okay? It may be a mediocre example, but that's the best I can do for today. My brain can't stand anymore. I think that's a good way to kind of conceptualize personality disorders, okay? So the next thing is no self-concept. Now, people with narcissistic personality disorder, they come across as really arrogant, but deep down inside, they're suffering from very low self-esteem. They're suffering from a feeling of inadequacy and a fear of not being important or self-sufficient, okay? So, they have a very poor self-concept, and that's why most of the time they end up behaving very arrogantly, because they're trying to compensate. It's a defense mechanism. The next clinical feature is that they are entitled, and they have an entitled worldview. Everything belongs to them. They have the right to have everything that they want. They have the right to, behave as they do and treat other people as if they are less than. And it's not just an entitled, arrogant disposition that can change over time. It's inborn, it's ingrained. Okay, the next is poor boundaries. Now, poor boundaries may be betrayal, two-faced, triangulation, pathological lying. There's a lot of issues with boundaries with narcissists, and I think that's what tears apart most relationships, because they don't know how to respect other people. They don't know how to take your emotional and psychological needs, and sometimes your physical needs, and take them into consideration. They bulldoze you down, right? And so family members who are like this, they're not going to look to you and say, are you doing okay? How's things in your world? And sometimes they intentionally try to minimize you so that they can feel like they are above you, okay? So poor boundaries. They don't have proper boundaries. It's just not who they are. The next clinical feature is that they truly believe in their action, beliefs, and perceptions. Now, you can't just look at a narcissist and say, can't you see that you're arrogant? Can't you see that you're a jerk? Can't you see that you're rude? Can't you see that, you've hurt mom, or you've hurt dad, or you've hurt me? They're not going to be able to see that. They strongly believe in their own position. They strongly believe in who they are. And they also strongly believe in the way that they're perceiving reality. So you're not going to change their skewed perception. They really do suffer from cognitive distortions. And I put air quotes around that because, most narcissists don't believe anything's wrong with them. So they're not suffering, but I say suffering to make the statement that it's basically like an illness. It's a pathology, that they don't see anything wrong with their perceptions. It is skewed. I think obsessions or preoccupation with success, I think that's one of the biggest issues with them as well. They really do stay in this locked world when it comes to, fantasy around success, when it comes to marrying the most successful guy on the football team, marrying the most successful woman in the business, right? They're really focused on success and aspirations, getting ahead and being labeled. I've worked with narcissists in the past, and I'm going to call them clinical narcissists, because they had every single symptom and characteristic and met every criteria needed to be diagnosed as a narcissist. And one of the things that I noticed over time, this may have been about 10 years ago, one of the things I noticed over time was the simple fact that they constantly searched for success. They wanted to be friends with the mayor. They wanted to be pals with the police down the street. They wanted to marry the woman who owns the big business down the road, right? They wanted to also put their kids on sports teams where there's famous players and coaches. Their goal was to be amongst the best, not because they just want to further themselves and be better in their life, but because it pumped them up, for lack of a clinical term. It made them feel important. So then how do you identify these needy narcissists in your family? Let's jump into that. Okay, so the first thing is, I want you to keep in mind that narcissists are very self-centered. They don't see what they do wrong, and they definitely don't see how to fix it. So, this next one that I'm going to mention here, in identifying them, I think a lot of you could probably spot the narcissist. But keep in mind that they cloak themselves. They use religion for status. Okay, I know you know people who are like this: Jehovah's Witnesses, Christians, Catholics, the list goes on. Not everybody uses religion to cloak themselves. I don't use my Christianity to cloak myself. I talk to people, I get to know them, I connect with them, and then I allow my faith to come in as we go along. But there are some people who wear crosses, huge crosses that you can't miss, huge hats, really trying to put out there that they're so Christian and devout and, so engaged and engulfed in their religion. And, they do charitable things to appear giving and godly and wonderful. Every conversation that you have with them is about religion. They don't know how to experience the pain of others and connect with others unless it has something to do with religion. And I think this is tricky because you don't want to categorize everybody like that, so I encourage you not to do that, right? But what I'm highlighting here is that narcissists within the family will sometimes cloak to their religion because that's all they've got. The next thing is wearing two faces, a family face and a social face. I'm going to be a mean operator, for lack of a better word, in the home with my family, whatever, and then over here when I go out in public, I'm going to be the best mayor there is. I'm going to be the best doctor that there is. They have a way of wearing two faces, two masks, Kind of reminds me of the Joker, the movie The Joker, where, one face was that way and another face was that way. And that's what happens with a narcissist a lot of the time. And most of the time they can't keep up with themselves because they don't have a self-identity. So they're lost as well. The next thing is not appearing authentic. Now, you may have this person come across as fake, plastic, reactive, and it's just too much. It's just too much, you can sense on the inside when somebody is not being authentic. You can even sense that through a video like you're watching today. You can also sense it through text messages sometime that a person is not being sincere. Pursuing relationships with a high status, I just talked about that, so you want to keep that in mind as you try to live around this family member or exist around this family member. Look at their relationships. Are they dating a number of people who have a certain disposition, a certain status? And if so, there's your answer. They may not be interested in a sweet, loving, caring, compassionate person who isn't a star, right? Keep that in mind. Narcissists tend to be in stormy relationships sometimes, and they also tend to go after people who are really edgy and risky, and that's only because they don't have a self-concept. Sometimes they don't even have the ability to see their footsteps and how they're living their lives. They're blind to that. They're numb. Okay. The next thing is fishing for compliments and validation. Narcissists do this all the time. You probably have family members who brag or they bring up certain things so you can ask about them, so you can praise them, positively reinforce them. Okay. So I think this criteria here is pretty self-explanatory. The next thing is never living correctly and kind of living through this skewed perception of reality. They think they're important. They think they're, above everybody else. They think their small positions are huge. I had a client come in a couple weeks ago, and she wasn't a patient. She was more like somebody who was consulting with me. And she basically said this, that, she worked a job with a boss who, had a really hard time just being a sweet, loving, compassionate boss. And every time she would do something for my client, she would highlight it. Like, nobody else would ever do this for you. Or you're lucky you work here because I give you a lot of vacations. You wouldn't get this anywhere else. So they live in a skewed perception of who they are. And they usually share that with other people. Like my client, she was told time and time again by this boss, nobody else would do this for you. The next thing is, appearing empathic, but not really having the ability to be empathic. There's a lot of narcissists who can appear empathic. They know how to do that. They know how to hit the right buttons. They know how to, smile at you and hug you and give you what you want. But when it comes down to the reality of really giving you love and affection, it's not there. It feels cold. It feels callous. It feels detached. They may also have some overlapping features with sociopathy. So if you find yourself dealing with possible sociopathy and narcissism, just keep in mind that they may not have the ability to understand where you're really coming from. They can't sense your pain. It's not there. It's a stony heart. I'll put it that way. I think I'm going to say cloaking themselves with achievements. I think that's something that you guys need to keep in mind as well. I know a lot of narcissists who are in my field, a lot of narcissists who are attorneys, a lot of narcissists who are my family members, my extended family members, on my father's side and even on my mom's side too. But I'm talking like way back in my family line. And these particular people that I've had experiences with, they like to exaggerate their credentials and blow things up and really try to power trip and make you feel small. And it's just not the reality of things, you know? So again, they live in that skewed perception of reality. So you have to keep in mind that if you are dealing with somebody like this, then you know you're most likely dealing with a narcissist within your family, okay? There's also, in addition to kind of using achievements to cloak, you're probably going to also sense this shallow pursuit of education and pursuit of better ways of living or better income or better whatever. You know, they don't seem to be really attached to the purpose of achieving success. They're just attached to what others think of their success. Does that make sense? They're excited and attached to the reality that other people are going to look at them and say, oh my God, look at what you are. Very shallow. So I'm sure you have family members like this. If you do, let me know in the comment section below, how have they impacted you? And go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you want to stick around with us, and that like and bell button so you can get updates every single time I post a video. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.